we are here in this conclave, and this time we are here on the stage. We four people are here to discuss on one of the very important aspect of today's India's energy basket. When we all look forward towards a clean energy solution, when we all look forward to green and clean energy sources, and we all know that renewable energy, the solar, the wind energy, it still will take a lot of, I think, years or decades to mature as a proper source of energy. And many reports have suggested that even at least till 2050, for many more decades, the petroleum will still be the major source of energy in the country. So in that time, when you look forward to some cleaner sources in the petroleum area only, then you look towards natural gas. So natural gas is one of the cleanest and efficient fuels which is very useful for industrial as well as domestic purposes. Efficient it is non-polluting, and when we talk about the infrastructure development, the pipeline distribution of this natural gas makes it more easier to be used at both industrial and domestic level. So today we'll be discussing on a very important topic of ensuring seamless gas distribution and pipeline network. We all know that in Rajasthan also, very efficient gas distribution and pipeline network is going on, and eminent organizations working in this sector. Some of them are here with me, and I would like to introduce them once again to you. Mr. Mohan Singh, Managing Director of Rajasthan State Gas Limited, which is, I think, a joint venture of GAIL and Rajasthan government. Then from GAIL itself, I have Ms. Sandepa Trakroo, CGM of Marketing, Chief General Manager of Marketing in Rajasthan GAIL India, and Mr. Vinod Kumar Dhaaka, Vice President and Rajasthan Head for Indraprastha, GA Head for Indraprastha Gas Limited. So it's a good mix of a government entity, a state-specific entity, and an industry stakeholder. So because GAIL is having a pan-India approach, so my first question is to you, Sandepa ji. I would like you to set up a context and tell us about this gas infrastructure across the country.
So good evening, everybody, and thank you organizers for inviting GAIL here. So let me begin with the larger context when we talk about GAIL. Maybe many of you would be aware that your government of India is talking about making India a gas-based economy, and what this means is that we need to increase the share of natural gas from current about 7% in the primary energy mix to about 15% by 2030. In terms of volumes, what this translates to is about increasing the gas consumption from current about 160 million standard cubic meters per day to around 600 million standard cubic meters per day. And what this calls for is a very vast and a very robust pipeline network in the country. Currently, we have about 19,000 kilometers of pipeline in the country, and there is a huge network also being developed going forward. Out of this 19,000 kilometer pipeline network in the country, GAIL itself has developed and is operating about over 14,000 kilometers of pipeline network, and we are executing another 7,000 kilometers of pipeline network. Historically, if you see, this pipeline network has been largely concentrated around the western part of the country and towards the northern part of the country. And we started with the first pipeline, natural gas pipeline, cross-country pipeline, which was the Hazira-Vijaipur-Jagdishpur pipeline. That was because, the gas sources, the larger gas sources were more concentrated towards the western part of the shore. And even the LNG terminals initially came up in the western part of the country, but western and the northern part of the country. So, but of late, with this vision of, having this gas-based economy and increasing the share of gas in the primary energy basket, a lot of focus has been on setting up the pipelines also in the eastern part of the country and in the southern part of the country. The objective is to have what we call one nation, one gas grid. So what we are currently doing is that we are executing these pipeline networks, and of course there are other entities also who are executing a number of pipeline networks. You would probably be aware of Pradhan Mantri Urja Ganga pipeline network, where we are setting up about 3,300 kilometers of pipeline network from Jagdishpur in UP to Haldia, Bokaro, Dhamra, and taking it all along towards Guwahati. There is also a vast network of pipeline which is coming up in the northeastern state, and there is a pipeline network which would be coming up in the, which is in fact under implementation, coming in the southern part of the country. So the objective is to have this network which should be completely connected and which should make gas available 24/7 to all the consumers across the country, and to increase this, the usage of this clean fuel across the nation. There are many other pipeline networks which GAIL is executing, and which the other entities are executing. To name a few, we have a pipeline network coming up in again in Mumbai, Nagpur, Jharsuguda pipeline network. Then there is this Shansha Jajjar Hisar pipeline network. In the south, there is this Kochi Mangalore pipeline network, and so on and so forth. Now, it's not only the pipeline infrastructure that has been developed and that is getting augmented. If you look at the gas consumption in the country, only 50% of this gas is domestically produced and 50% is being imported. To support these imports, we need a lot of a large regasification set up in the country. We already have regasification terminals. One of our JV companies, the Petronet LNG Limited, they have a very large regasification terminal in Dahej, which is in Gujarat, and another terminal in Kochi. And there are other players which have set up the LNG regasification terminals along the west coast initially, and now also along the east coast. There is IOCL terminal in Ennore. Then there is another terminal which is coming up in Dhamra. There is a terminal already existing which is in Hazira. And there is a terminal of GAIL, LNG regasification terminal of GAIL, which is in Dabhol in Maharashtra, which is being operated by our subsidiary company, the Konkan LNG Limited. So the objective is to have enough infrastructure, adequate infrastructure in the country, so that the gas, whether it is domestically produced or it is imported, there should be enough infrastructure available in the country to support the wide usage of natural gas in the country. I would also like to mention here that it's not only the pipeline network that we are focusing on. It takes time to develop this infrastructure, and when there is a demand in areas where the pipeline has not reached yet, what we are trying to do is to have a virtual pipeline network as well, which means that we are transporting gas through LNG tankers, through CNG cascades, and trying every possible means to make sure that gas reaches every nook and corner of the country till the time the entire gas network, that one nation, one gas grid is ready, and gas reaches the households in terms of as PNG, as CNG reaches the transport sector, it reaches the anchor consumers like fertilizer, power, it reaches the other industries like steel, glass, ceramic, and so on. So yes, GAIL is really committed to make sure that there is a very robust infrastructure in the country, and as we transition towards the net zero targets, we know that gas is going to play a very big role in that, and being a relatively cleaner fuel compared to oil and compared to coal. There is a huge responsibility with us, and we are making our best efforts to make sure that we live up to the expectation and we make this cleaner fuel available all across.
Thank you, Sandepa ji. I think you have highlighted the GAIL's role, and we got to know that how GAIL is a pioneer in this sector, and how this infrastructure, the whole network you are deploying across the country, and including the eastern part of the country as well. And also the usage at the application side is also very important, and you mentioned about fertilizers and powers. When we talk about the usage of it, city gas distribution becomes a very important element of it. And when we talk of Rajasthan, there is quite big city gas distribution network is there, and a lot of companies are involved in that. And Mr. Mohan Singh ji, I request you to tell us about the city gas distribution, because RSGL is one of those companies working on it, and I think you are also the nodal organization for city gas distribution. So please give us the status of this CDG scenario in the state of Rajasthan.
Good afternoon, everybody. For seamless and ensuring this gas distribution 24/7, like my panelist Anita Trakroo ma'am earlier said, we have 19,000 kilometer pipeline network across the state. That is cross country pipeline, and it is operating right now. Further, there are projects worth 14,000 kilometer of pipeline network that was also going to be added in 3-4 years time. As far as Rajasthan is concerned, we have network number 1 from Bijapur to Kota and up to Bhilwara and Chittor. That is being supplied through GAIL. Another network we have at Nimrana from Chensa Jajjar pipeline. We have connected it to Nimrana, and a lot of industries are being supplied gas through this project also. For further distribution and the further progress of this city gas distribution, PNGRB is basically nodal agency of Government of India under Ministry of Petroleum and Natural Gas. They have done authorization for the each districts. Up to the 10th of CGD round bidding, that was up to the 2019, 19 districts were authorized, and recently held this bidding round in 2022. All 33 districts of Rajasthan have been authorized to 14 CGD entities. They are working in state of Rajasthan. Out of these entities, amongst prominent are Indraprastha Gas Limited. My colleague is there from Indraprastha Gas Limited. Then Adani Total we have. Then Torrent Gas we have. And so on. There are 14 entities working in state of Rajasthan, and they will ensure seamless and 24/7 availability of natural gas in the Rajasthan. Further, for ensuring seamless distribution, there is one more project which has been partly commissioned. One more pipeline is coming from Mehsana to Bathinda. It is being laid by GIGL, that is GSPL India Gasnet Private Limited Company. It starts from Mehsana, and the length of this pipeline is 1650 kilometers, and 1350 kilometers passing through Rajasthan only. Therefore, substantial part of this pipeline is going through Rajasthan. And this pipeline, especially for natural gas, and this pipeline ensure the natural gas supply in total Rajasthan, because it is passing, it's entering in Siroi, then Tupali, Ajmer, Jaipur, Sikar, Hanumangarh, and it goes to the Bathinda. So this pipeline network, the main trunk, this will serve as a trunk network. And for further distribution in the cities, we have 14 entities like this. I said this. So this main MBPL pipeline will be coming. Of course, GAIL is supplying gas to some part of the Rajasthan. They will ensure the seamless distribution. And these targets given by PNGRB for 8 years targets have been assigned to these companies. As per the target given, in 8 years time, 1187 number of CNG stations are going to be installed in Rajasthan, and around 96 lakhs domestic connection will be provided. Of course, even as on today also, more than 200 CNG stations are working in the state of Rajasthan, and further it is in developing state. As far as RSGL is concerned, RSGL is working in Kota in Rajasthan, plus we have mother CNG stations at Nimrana. Up to the last year, we were operating these stations, but after authorization to the Torrent, we are working as a dealer for there. RSGL is the first company, we are the torch bearer for the Rajasthan CNG dispensing, plus the city gas distribution. We have already started gas supply to 30 commercial and domestic customers in Kota. Apart from, we have created around 240 kilometer pipeline network, that is 40 kilometer steel diameter and around 200 kilometer PE pipeline network is there. And we plan to supply at least 1 lakh domestic connection in 4 or 5 years to come. Thank you very much.
Right. Thank you, Mr. Mohan Singh. Actually, you have quite wonderfully explained how this city gas distribution is taking place in the state of Rajasthan. One thing you mentioned about the other companies participating in this. So IGL, Mr. Vinod Kumar Dhaaka is sitting with me, and Mr. Dhaaka, as far as I know, Ajmer is the city which you are taking up, or there could be many more. So there are a lot of challenges still for industry to work in any sector. Gas is not any different. So there's a challenge of price constraint also still associated with the gas. So I would like to know from you as an industry, how do you see yourself contributing in this pipeline distribution of gas in the state, and how it is getting developed in the state?
Good afternoon. I think after COVID, this is first session on oil and gas. And during COVID period, only most of the cities in Rajasthan have been awarded for city gas distribution. So in a way, this session happens to be preface for CGD industry in Rajasthan. To talk about CGD, city gas distribution is the last mile connectivity in the gas value chain. So my co-panelists talked about the trunk transmission pipeline network in India. The CGD network is a pipeline network which lies within the defined limits of a geographical area. Our geographical area extends in Ajmer district, Pali district and Rajasthan district. So the pipeline network of CGD is different from the trunk transmission pipeline network in a way. It's a attenuation of diameter of the pipelines and attenuation of the gas pressure which flows through the pipelines. So typically we have a network of steel pipelines which carry a pressure of from 19 bar to 26 bar, and then low pressure medium density polyethylene pipeline network which carries a pressure of 4 bar and which goes right up to the individual households, it goes up to individual commercial units, it goes up to individual industrial units. The steel pipeline network also connects to the CNG stations. So this is a basic infra, and under the PNJ bidding process, each CGD is required to build certain physical infrastructure in these geographical area, defined geographical areas. Like we are supposed to make about around 100 kilometer of a steel pipeline. We have already achieved that landmark. We have crossed the commitment which was there for 7-8 years. We have already completed that part. And we are supposed to provide about 1 million domestic connections in these 3 districts. And we are supposed to make about 198 CNG stations. We have already provided 44 outlets. So we have already completed targets which were due by March of next year. These have been completed. Now we have also connected about 1 lakh to 30,000 domestic connections in these 3 districts. So seamless connectivity is taking tap off from the trunk transmission pipelines of the companies like GAIL or GIL in Rajasthan and spreading the network right up to the last point. That is what is called city gas distribution network. As far as tap off is concerned, we have taken tap off at Sumerpur Tehsil of Pali district from GIGL, just outside the Sumer Tehsil in Shivganj Tehsil of Sirohi district. And then second tap off from the trunk transmission network of GIGL we have taken from Daulat Khada village, which is situated between Byawar and Ajmer. And third tap off will be taking at Nasirabad, which is again situated in Ajmer district. So I think that is what constitutes CGD network.
Right, it rightly envisages how IGL is taking up at least 3 cities and working on the pipeline network. So after this specific city distribution of gas, I'll come back to you again, Sandepa ji, because we have last 11 or 12 minutes with us. There are challenges, again, I would focus on that the sector, natural gas sector is still not matured. It will, I think personally that it might take some more years to get matured, and so that industry and domestic users can get the most of the benefit of this clean source of energy. I would like to ask from you that for India's energy needs, to become India's one of the most prominent energy sources, what the role natural gas can play in the future in terms of energy needs of the country?
We are all seeing that, you know, there is a lot of discussion around and a lot of call around this net zero emission targets. And that's where I see that natural gas is going to play a big role. How? It is, in my opinion, it's going to be a transition fuel. It is also going to play a big role in the city gas distribution. I have my co-panelists here and they'll vouch for it. City gas currently consumes about 17 to 18 MMSCMD of gas, but going forward, there's going to be a large, the city gas distribution is going to be a large consumption center for gas. But what else the role of gas is going to be in the energy basket of the country is that when we talk about this net zero emission, the decarbonization agenda, that's where gas is going to play a big role. There are a number of industries which are still consuming the polluting fuels like, you know, fuel oil, also industries consuming coal and all. We have seen what has happened in the state of Rajasthan itself when in Bhiwadi, the consumers were asked to switch over to the cleaner fuels. They were using this LDO, they were using fuel oil, and that's where GAIL played a big role when they were made to switch over to the cleaner fuel gas. And going forward, we see that happening a lot across the other cities in the country. So that is one part where gas is going to play a big role. City gas is another part where gas is going to play a big role. The other very important role that gas is going to play is as a bridging fuel for the renewables. We know the renewables have an intermittency issue where they're not available 24/7. And that's where, because renewable agenda is to do with the, you know, have more clean energy, and therefore, if you have to address that intermittency issue, you cannot go to the, say, coal-based power or, you know, fuel oil-based. That's where gas-based generation is going to play a big role. Another area where I see the gas is going to play a major role is that when we talk about completely transitioning towards the green energy, like, say, for example, hydrogen. So it's not going to happen that overnight we're going to start using 100% hydrogen in our system. What is going to initially happen is that there is going to be some kind of blending, and in fact, there again we are playing a role. We are setting up a green hydrogen plant and a green hydrogen electrolyzer, but at the same time what we are going to do is on pilot basis, we will be blending this hydrogen in some segments initially to test how much we can blend with natural gas and gradually then increase it. So again, the blending can happen only with natural gas. Again, gas is going to play a big role. So overall, going forward, we see that towards this big ambition of net zero targets, gas is going to play a very big role, and we don't see any other fossil fuel playing the kind of role that gas is going to play.
Rightly mentioned about the importance of natural gas or gas to be, you know, increased in the near future in the country. Mr. Mohan Singh ji, my request to you is to throw this light on the same in terms of Rajasthan, because we all know that Rajasthan is looking forward to become the hub of petroleum-based products, and gas is one of the one of those major products of petroleum, and we all see that with the vision of the Chief Minister of the state, the refinery project is also going on very well. So when we have a lot of gas generated in the state, and we have a good city gas distribution network, so keeping all these things in terms, tell us what is the future of gas in the state of Rajasthan specifically?
Well, so far as the natural gas penetration is concerned in Rajasthan, it was confined to Nimrana sector especially, and some parts of Kota only. After the authorization of the 33 districts, all districts in Rajasthan, and coming the 14 entities entering into Rajasthan, they have started their work on war footing basis. Of course, due to COVID, there has been some delays, but I am confident that after the commissioning of this MBPL pipeline, plus the targets given to CGT companies, if they are going on target, they achieve on target, and I'm sure they will achieve on the target. So there will be total transformation as far as Rajasthan is concerned, because gas will be reaching to all the states. Even their pipeline is not there, like Jodhpur, Bikaner, Churu, Ganganagar, every part of the Rajasthan will be getting the gas. And industrialization will be going to take place because there are so many uses apart from the cooking on the CNG stations. Gas is utilized for plastic industries, ceramic industries, and glass industries. Therefore, the industrialization going to boost basically with the availability of natural gas in the coming times in the state of Rajasthan.
Thank you, Mr. Mohan Singh. And lastly, I'll request you, Mr. Dhaaka, to tell us about the role of a company like IGL in the promotion of gas distribution and gas infra in the country.
Well, sir, when it comes to CGD, as we can take a cue from Delhi NCR example, today Indraprastha Gas Limited caters to about 3,000 establishments in Delhi NCR, where they replace liquid fuel or other polluting fuel. And they are catering to about 5,000 commercial establishments. You name any hotel or any hospital, they are all run on gas in place of LPG or diesel. And they are also dispensing CNG through more than 700 CNG outlets, which is catering to requirement of 1.5 million CNG fueled vehicles. So the same experiment is going to be replicated in cities like Ajmer, Pali and Rajasthan and all the cities all across Rajasthan, where the number of vehicles, number of establishments may be smaller compared to Delhi NCR. We foresee in next 7 to 8 years about 2,000 odd commercial establishments converting to natural gas in 3 districts, and this about 1,000 odd industrial establishments coming on to natural gas, and mostly CGD caters to MSME segment. India has about 7.9 million MSMEs, and this gas distribution of CGD will touch these MSME segments in a major way, and it's going to bring a major transformation the way these industries are fueled in future. Similarly, these 200 CNG stations in 3 districts, they will cater to the fueling of about 1 million CNG fuel vehicles in coming years. I would like to take this explanation further. This promoting natural gas, natural gas is one of the inputs for industry, and that is not all. For promotion of industry, it requires a whole lot of things like affordable power. We need water supply. Thankfully now zero liquid discharge technologies are available now. So a state like Rajasthan can stand to benefit from that. Water requirements of the industry goes down with this technology. And then you need good road connectivity, affordable transportation. Our transportation cost is somewhere 10 to 15% more than the international standards, because of which our export competitiveness is compromised. So all these things have to be aligned along with the gas. So the organization like RICO or industry promotion organizations of various states, they have to repackage the whole thing, including gas, in their promotion efforts. So that's how the industry can grow, the industry can expand capacity, the industry can relocate where the gas availability is there. So I see a major transformation coming in next 8 to 10 years in the state of Rajasthan. In the country also, my company has touched about 17, 18 MMSCMD. I think today of the total gas usage, CGD is using about 20%. And that's going to extend up to 32% of the total gas consumption in coming year. So you can say the CGD is poised for a major takeoff, not only at the national level, but in the state of Rajasthan also.
Right. So I think we can conclude with this fact that the gas is here to transform the energy sector of the country, just a matter of time, and definitely the collaterals attached with this this energy source are very important. There should be an infrastructure, there should be a transport infrastructure, there should be all parallel infrastructure nicely attached, so that this sector of gas can grow more and more. And here government's role become very important, and organizations like RICO and other state industrial and investment promotion bodies have a very important role to play here. And so I think we can conclude that yes, when we talk of Rajasthan, the city gas distribution and various other applications of natural gas are here to grow more. And in terms of the country, GAIL has given a great overview of how this country is very ambitious about natural gas as a source of energy. And Mr. Dhaaka very well mentioned about industry's role in taking up this natural gas to the great level. And in some years or decades, hopefully we'll see more cleaner solutions of energy, and natural gas will be one of them. So here we'll close the discussion. Thank you so much.